Thank you, everyone, for your work on that. That said, the last item on our agenda is to introduce the 2024 supplemental budget requests, which this really is just our first step into the budget process. We'll do a little recap and things next, at our next workshop, and, we'll have our budget books ready where we can start to analyze our, cost to continue our new spending and our budget impacts on our mill rate as we go up and down on things. So in your packets, you have a summary of the supplemental requests. These would be new spending within the departments, and there are all kinds of things from equipment to training to staff. A couple of the items Mary Ann has mentioned we'll need to remove because they are a little bit duplicative with what we've seen in CIP. I guess if we want to just step through them in the order that they're on the ranking sheets. Cody handed out some ranking sheets that we'll complete between now and Tuesday.
Yeah,
right?
and they wouldn't have to be done on Tuesday.
Or would you want them for the for the Thursday? Okay,
Yeah.
so we won't need these for Tuesday.
No.
Okay, so the first one is from Community Development, and that's for neighborhood listening sessions. And we have about 20 minutes to step through some of these. And we do have time for us to ask some questions of our department heads that supplemented or submitted these requests. There is some information in the packets for each one where they've made their request. And so there's a little write-up in there from Liz on, trying different approaches to, I guess, interact and network with neighborhoods when stakeholder input is necessary. So they're asking for a $10,000 figure to facilitate things like open communication and public engagement in neighborhoods. While we recognize the value of that, we've never paid for that before. We've usually been able to host those sessions in a setting that, perhaps doesn't carry a fee. But we have also found that with some of these meetings, there is some upward pressure in costs when we are offering services for interpreters and things. And so they have to pay those folks to get them. And that's become increasingly more necessary and popular to make sure that we have those bilingual options available. So I can see where there's a cost there. Sarah?
And I guess I also see, just reading through it, just if we haven't approved like an assistant for that department for a while, and this, sort of takes on that slack. It's a way I guess I see sort of a way to continue that good service without hiring a continuing cost.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, and there's a
It's a lot
supplemental
cheaper.
request, I think, towards the end there is a request for a staff person for them, isn't there?
Yeah.
So that's coming. But yes, definitely necessary. So if anyone, Liz has her hand up on WebEx, so go ahead, Liz.
Thank you. I just wanted to kind of further explain the $10,000 cost. That is very much an outside figure that would be used for interpreters both at the meetings and to do written communication in Spanish and Hmong. We also, in our Thomas Street meetings, have been providing childcare on site as well, and so that's also a cost. We basically, and we provide refreshments whenever possible, depending on the meeting location. All of those amenities are meant to make the meeting more accessible to everybody, because
Sure.
we understand, traditionally, we host meetings at certain times on certain days, and if you don't have childcare or don't know how to interact in the meeting, with the different language requirements, then that prohibits certain people from being able to participate in their government. So we submitted that request basically to make it as accessible as possible and be really proactive in our approach to open communication. I also wanted to note that this budget request, I know that it's scored or it's listed as the least crucial on the matrix. And we wanted to make it clear that if we don't have an admin assistant, I really don't know that we have staff capacity, because we're already kind of overstretched on our staff capacity right now. So those two things would likely have to go in tandem.
Okay, all right. So we'll recognize that. Anybody have questions for Liz on that? We'll get to that additional staff request. New personnel is the last page of this, so this is more the other tangible things. The other two that are on page 1 of the ranking request Item number 3, I believe, Station 3 lockers was one of the items that we were going to pull, that was part of the CIP. So that is actually handled a different way, so you won't need to score that. But firefighter cancer screening for $23,800. You've got some information in the packets on that. It goes without saying that exposure to the carcinogens that take place in active fires has shown itself for a long time to be a contributing factor in firefighter cancer risk. So this would get them some advanced screening. It looks like it's an intensive program, $23,800 to detect some of these things early or earlier. Does anyone have questions for Chief Bartek on that? This is not something that we've done before, but I think we have recognized it in the past as a need. Come on up, Chief. Michael has a question?
Yep, I guess, well, I'll let you get into your spiel, but I'll ask my question because you can probably answer it as part of your narrative. But will something like this help us contain our health insurance rates in the future?
Well, it could. I'm not going to say it's going to have any direct correlation right away on keeping health insurance costs down, but early detection of these types of cancers that we're finding common in firefighters could lead to obviously less treatment if that's caught early. Actually, just a few weeks ago, I found out that one of our senior firefighters has got a rare bloodborne cancer, type of leukemia, that he's going to be undergoing treatments for, and I'm sure it's going to be lengthy and costly, those treatments. This is very emerging technology that they're finding. NIOSH, all of your leading employee-centric, health and safety sites research is going the direction of finding under NIOSH and OSHA that firefighters are very high propensity for cancers, 14% higher than normal rate, depending on the types of cancer, colorectal, prostate cancer in men, bloodborne pathogens in bloodborne cancers also. And so this emerging technology coming out, there's one department that's pioneering it in Wisconsin, it's Kenosha. We're following their lead in this cancer screening. They've worked with a provider in the southeast part of Wisconsin that has some advanced screening technology that they can look at firefighters and have early detection. We'd like to get to be a part of this program. We don't need to test young, new firefighters, have very low cancer rates in them, but we need to test our senior firefighters, and we need to create baselines. It's obviously very costly. It's about $1,700 per firefighter to undergo this screening process. And we'd like to start with the top 20% of the organization and then have a rotation basis where every 5 years the firefighters are undergoing this screening. Obviously, the best way for us to start it is somehow to work it into our budget, and it's just part of the budget. And we thought supplementary would be the best way to do in a cost to continue budget. I can bring a lot more information. I kept it small in this packet. I put a few links in there to some of the stuff that's emerging about it. Firefighters are a high propensity for lung cancer formerly, but we've solved that problem. We solved it through the prolific use of SCBAs in those types of IDLH environments. And now we don't have lung cancer in firefighters anymore, but we're having a very high propensity in colorectal and prostate cancer. And there's still a lot of research on why that is. And like Station 2, we put cancer prevention technology into that station to separate firefighters from carcinogens. And so we're doing a lot of work as a municipality, and I think we can still do more for our firefighters. And so we'd like to get that started, and that's what this request would do. Okay. And we've worked hand in hand with the local 415. They're the ones that brought this proposal to us. I hopped right on it. And it's really, so I know we're going to have buy-in from our members, and we're going to see high participation rates.
Okay, that's excellent. Another item that we are not going to need to score this time, I believe, is the medical equipment, video laryngoscopes. There is an equipment replacement fund that can absorb that cost that we've developed a number of years ago. Fire paramedic tuition is the other one for $24,000. You'll recall that when we started recruitment for so many additional firefighter paramedics that we needed, we did also encourage the fire department to hire individuals who needed training, that needed to complete paramedic training, that needed to complete facets of certification, to widen the pool of applicants that could qualify. And, rather than requiring that they be fully certified and, have all of that education complete upon entry. So this actually is, it sounds like the training that's necessary to enroll some of those students in programs to get them to the training that we want them to have. Michael?
We offered, we did a course of paramedic training earlier this year. Was that funded through ARPA?
Yes.
Remind me.
Yep, that was funded through, we had allocated, we did a budget mod for dollars of ARPA that we had allocated for salaries and wages of new firefighters. And so we had done a budget mod for equipment and for the tuition for the EMT basic to paramedic program. We put the supplemental budget request in, and we're really basing it right now on our fall recruitment that we're working on. If the fall recruitment is successful in us securing firefighter paramedics with the paramedic training, or paramedics that are currently enrolled in their educational programs that are maybe ending in December or May, we were successful in recruiting 5 firefighters last year that we were mid-process already, and we didn't have to run them through a full course. So we would not need all of the funds. We may not need any if we were to recruit enough paramedics, but we're going into the end of the year with potentially 6 openings, and so we need to make sure that we're prepared for that. We anticipate 2 more openings next spring from employee notifications about retirements, and so I think that we need to prepare for at least 8 students if we need those funds for tuition.
Sure. Okay. So we'll definitely score that. The next supplement that's in the packets. Oh, go ahead, sure.
Did you say we're taking off the fire medical equipment, but
Yes.
keeping the tuition?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep, because the equipment replacement fund will take care of that other.
Okay.
Chief, I'm
ahead.
sorry. Can I ask a question on?
Sure.
Sorry for the.
That's all right.
Fire here. So these candidates, are they hired candidates, or are they?
No, this would be for future recruitment. We have not put up a posting for candidates that would meet that qualification. This is an earmark in case we can't. I don't want to go unprepared and not have the funding for this tuition if we have to recruit EMT basics and train them as paramedics.
Okay. No, I think it's a good initiative, because we can reach out first, try to get some skills first, and,
Yes.
and hire maybe people who traditionally wouldn't be able to take that path
Yeah.
on their own. Thank you.
Sure. Okay, so we'll definitely score that. Next in our list of things is the court restorative justice support. 25,000 they're looking for that. We do have the municipal judge with us this evening if you have questions for him about this program. So Judge Sauer, if you want to come up and talk with us about the success that this program has had. It looks like it's a county-sponsored program. Go ahead.
Yes. The program, just very briefly, started really as a alternate program for teen drivers about 8-9 years ago. And then we expanded it to the vaping issue in the schools. And then we've further expanded it into kind of miscellaneous poor behavior young people get into. And this year, the county is indicating they do not want to use us with the bad behavior piece of it anymore. So some of that is going to go away. And so we need the money for that purpose, and we also, the vaping just continues to grow.
Okay.
And although we have a good success rate in all of this, we tend to, I try and rate our success rates by the number of kids that reoffend. And as best our numbers can show, that rate is below 10%,
Yeah.
which is good, but I don't really know what that means. But
Yeah, a number of years ago, I participated in the life report development process, and that was one of the programs that we were looking at the effectiveness of, and rate of reoffense was part of that. And there was, back then already, positive feedback from within the county that if you can get in front of some of these things, that it really sets people on a different path
Yes.
versus other or more serious things that would occur down the line. So, Carol?
Thank you. So I work in the schools. I'm a teacher and can very much attest to the vaping issue.
Yeah.
It's a problem, but our school has also really has worked with the restorative justice program and has used it. Or students of ours, I should say, if they may be working with the restorative justice program outside of school, and I have very much been in support of it. We're really grateful for the work. So, thank you.
All right, any additional questions, Sarah?
So this is just a one-time expense?
For now.
Okay. So is this, I mean, would ideally this be something that would continue annually?
We did it as a one-time, because we're still hoping we can convince the county to change what they want to do next year.
Okay.
And we're also not sure with the bad behavior issues, without giving you more information, you really want to know. The county likes to see the tickets that come out of the school stay in the program and not come down here.
Okay.
But we still get the bad behavior tickets that don't come out of the school. They come out of the patrol officers. And so some of those are still going to come here, and that's what we're really looking, and we can't quite figure out how that's going to go. But I can tell you in the years I've done this, we're still going to get those tickets. And I still want to try and send those kids into restorative justice if we can.
Okay. All right. Additional questions? If not, we'll rank and score that as well. So thank you
Thank
for
you.
that. 2 requests also from the police department, one for commercial travel, one for recruitment and retention. You've got some documentation in your packets there. Chief Barnes is here if you have questions for him on that. I guess, Chief, if you wanted to walk us through these, it looks like they have been able to increase their outreach a little bit in terms of recruitment and marketing to get people to want to participate in those recruitments. So welcome.
Well, thank you. I'll try and be super brief. The commercial travel, we end up with commercial travel on an annual basis. We don't have a line item in our budget for that. We end up using other lines of our budget. It impacts our training budget and the different classes that our officers can go to. We have investigations that take us out of state. We send people to execute search warrants in other states when the suspects are out of state. But the most significant part of those dollars would likely be spent to send our officers out of state to larger municipal areas to recruit. We know that we don't get enough minority candidates to meet what our goal is, and we also don't get enough female candidates to meet what our goal is, which is 30% of our staff being female by 2030. If we want to achieve those goals, we're going to have to go where the candidates are to be able to convince them that this is the community they want to work in and we're the department they want to be in. We also know that recruiting officers has changed dramatically. 23 years ago, when the city of Wausau hired me, there were 350 to 375 applicants. We're running a process right now. We're about to close that. We have 19 applicants. So that's a significant change, and it's very competitive. In order to be competitive, we need to go to the recruitment fairs. We need to have things that celebrate Wausau that we can. It's amazing. A tiny little department at a recruitment fair was handing out T-shirts that had the name of their department on it to college students. Every single kid stopped by their recruitment to get a T-shirt. We were handing out pens. So we need some dollars in our budget if we want to be competitive in the marketplace for staff. We need to do that, and we need dollars to be able to do that. Hence the 2 requests that you see in front of you.
Okay, thank you. We'll definitely score those. I think given the time, because we need a little time to reset for the council meeting to start at 6:30, we'll put a pin in this effort. The additional projects that we will rank and score, 3 of them for DPW and then 3 added staff requests, we will take those at our Tuesday workshop as we delve into the rest of this process. So let's just put a bookmark in that for tonight. I'll take a motion to adjourn. Motion by Watson, is there a second by Lukens? Members in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Aye, opposed? No one's ever opposed to adjournment. We'll adjourn, we'll give everybody time to reset for council, and that should be able to start here in just a couple minutes. Thanks, everyone.